look. It looks like joy. It looks like pain. It looks like sunshine after many seasons of rain. It looks like rain after a season of drought. It looks like addressing those fears and overcoming doubts. Healing is a necessity for your soul. If you want to grow to your fullest potential, healing has to be the goal. You are now listening to Healing the Soul. Enjoy the journey and let's heal. Hey family, welcome to another episode of Healing the Soul podcast. It's your host, Save with Sauce. And first off, let me just start by saying I missed you guys. I know last week I took a week off and I honestly needed that time. I needed that moment to just gather myself, to recollect, to plan, to, just take a moment for myself. And I missed pouring. So now that I'm here this week, I have a lot to say. I have a lot to share. Last week we had ended off, not last week, 2 weeks ago, we ended off talking about having faith. And I shared the definition of faith. I shared the biblical definition of faith found in Hebrews 11:1. And then I also shared the Webster Dictionary of the Webster's Dictionary definition of faith. And you know what I realized? I realized that a lot of times people could say, oh, have faith, and tell you to have faith. But what about if a person just don't know how to have faith? What about, when it becomes challenging to even apply faith? Like, how does that work? What does that even look like? So today I'm going to continue talking about faith, but I'm going to talk about it from a couple of different angles. I'm going to talk about how to apply faith. I'm going to talk about the difference between faith and believing, because there is a difference. And I'm going to unpack that. And then I'm also going to talk about just like the weight your faith carries. So first, just getting started, let's recap a little bit, right? So the definition of faith in Hebrews 11:1, it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, right? Now, one of the things that I found interesting is when I looked up the term faith, it says one of the characteristics of the one who is reliable. And that was so heavy to me, because it's just like, all right, if we're going to talk about if we are going to talk about us having faith, we got to understand that this is the characteristic that the one who we rely on, this is his characteristic is faithfulness. He's faithful to us, right? And so now, if a person does not know how to have faith, what does that look like? Well, you could just basically say this is like just a little have faith 101 moment. Because I say, if you don't know what it means or how to have faith, I'd say, first of all, faith is literally, it's believing, it's being confident. It is this assurance of something that you cannot see, right? And as a believer, if you're a believer, as a believer, that's the foundation. First of all, that's the foundation of faith. It takes faith for us to even believe in God. It takes faith because it's what we cannot see, but we're believing in it. I hope that makes sense. So faith is literally being convinced. It's this confidence. It's this assurance of something that you cannot see. And it's a difference between faith and belief, right? It's a difference between having faith and then believing. And before, I used to think that the two meant the same, but I realized that they're not synonyms. They're not synonyms, because to Have faith means that you cannot see something, but you have this confidence that it is so. You have this confidence that it will be. You have this confidence that it's already done. You have this confidence in something that you cannot see. It's just it's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual feeling that, listen, like, I am confident of this even though I don't see this, right? Now, belief is, I seen this. I saw, like, belief suggests when you believe something, it's because you saw proof. It's because you have proof. And just before I even talk about applying faith, I just want to share this story really quickly. In Mark chapter 9, right, there was a moment where this man, he encounters Jesus, right? And Jesus says to him, listen, all things is possible to the one that believes. And at this moment, he's talking about, like, to the one that has faith in him, right? And the man says to him, he says, God, I believe, but help my unbelief. And what was so interesting to me in that moment was when I started to really, like, unpack it and even look up the words. The man was saying to Jesus, he said, listen, I believe. And what he was saying is, I believe in your capability. I believe that you're able to carry out what I'm asking. He was saying, I believe in who you are. I believe because I'm looking at you. And so I know that you're real. He says, but help my unbelief, because he believed that Jesus exists, but the thing that he was supposed to be having faith for, he was challenged in that. He was challenged in that. And so he's like, listen, I believe because I believe that you exist, but help my unbelief because I'm shaky in my faith. I'm shaky in the thing that I'm asking you to carry out. I'm not really fully sure. Like, there's some doubt there. There's some doubt there. My faith is a bit shaking. So I believe, but help my unbelief. And the reality is, how many times do we find ourselves in those moments? How many times do we find ourselves kind of in that same place? Like, all right, God, I know that you exist. I know that you're real. And I believe you. I believe in who you are. I believe in your character. But help my unbelief, because there's some things that I'm looking for or some things I'm expecting. And I don't really know. Like, my faith is shaken in this. But one of the things that I want to say, and I would like to encourage you, is if we say, I believe, right? And I believe in who you are, I believe in your character, then part of the character of God is him being faithful. So if he is faithful, then that means that you can have faith in the one who's faithful, because he's faithful to perform. He's faithful to show up for you. He's faithful to move on your behalf. He's faithful to answer the very thing that you're praying for, the very thing that you're seeking him for. He's faithful. And so have faith in the one who's faithful. Another thing that I say is, and I want to, because I'm a person that's like, I like to just be real, right? And I think that in being real, like, it's safe to say that there's moments where there's moments or there's times when people's faith, it is shaken, right? There's times where your faith is challenged, where you're really looking for God to show up, or you're asking for something, and it's something that is, sometimes it may seem like it's not attainable. But here's the beauty in that: when something is like, you can do it on your own, when something is easily attained, right? It's not something that really stretches or challenges your faith. But when you know that it's beyond your control, when you know that, look, I need God to do this thing because this is beyond me, then at that moment, like, that stretches your faith. That stretches your faith. So instead of seeing that as instead of seeing those moments as your faith being shaken, see it as, look, my faith is being stretched because I know, like, I'm believing God for something that is not before me. I'm believing God for something that's bigger than me. I'm believing God for something that's gonna impact millions of people. I'm believing God for something that's gonna be a legacy. I'm believing God for something that's gonna be, it's gonna go on, it's gonna carry on for generations. I'm believing God for something that's big, that's major. And so because of that, it stretches my faith. It challenges it challenges me to believe for what I really can't see, to have faith for what I can't see. So, and like I said, instead of in those moments, instead of your faith being shaken up, let those moments increase your faith. Let those moments increase your faith. And then another thing that I wanted to say is, and let me just, another thing that I wanted to say, I wanted to address, I don't know if, I'm sure everybody have heard the line before, like, fake it until you make it. And when I was thinking about faith, I don't know, for some reason that line came to my mind, because I thought about how many times people say, oh, fake it until you make it. How many times people put on this facade, right, where they portray like things are good, or they portray like things are good, or they walk around as though things were good, but they know deep down inside things are not, or they know that deep down inside they're feeling like a little worried or a little hopeless, right? But the exterior, maybe the smile on the outside, maybe, you know, the ability to still look strong on the outside, is really like the whole fake it until you make it persona, right? But I thought about that because when I thought about that term, I really was thinking about, like, no, you know what? I knew our new model needs to be faith it until you make it, like, until you see it. And what am I saying? I'm saying, like, I'm talking about have faith and believe and trust until you see whatever you are having faith for, whatever you are believing for, whatever you're hoping for. Faith it. Have faith that it's going to happen. Have faith that that time is going to cause that thing to just, like, time, whatever you're believing God to do for you, or whatever God has even promised you, like, time is going to catch up to what God has promised, and you are going to continue to have faith until you make it, until you see it, until it's here, until it's happening. Faith it until you make it. We're not faking it until we make it. We're not doing that anymore. We're not out here walking around with this falsehood, or, you know, like a false exterior, or no, faith it until you make it. Have faith in God until you see the manifestation of what you are looking for God to do for you. So, like, that was like just another thing that I wanted to acknowledge. All right, I had lost my train of thought for a split second, but going back to what I was saying initially as it pertains to how to apply your faith, I think the first step to applying your faith is you have to be confident in what you, first of all, and what you have faith in, right? Or what you have, whatever it is that you have faith for, you have to be confident in that. I'm talking about, like, solid, like, confident, where you're not shaken up by, you're not allowing any voices, anybody else's voices, any other influence to cause you to be shaken up or to cause you to be moved. I'm talking about you're not even allowing yourself, you're not allowing your own doubts and worries, fears, thoughts. You're not talking yourself out of that which you have faith in, because you're so confident, you're so grounded, you're so rooted in this. It's like, listen, I'm not allowing my fears. I'm not allowing past mistakes or past failures talk me out of this. I'm not allowing worry. I'm not allowing doubts, overthinking, none of that to move me out of this place of faith, of having faith. And so I think the first step to having faith is this confidence, this assurance that says, I'm not easily moved. I'm rooted, I'm grounded, and I'm not easily moved. I think, and what that looks like is, right. And so I'm gonna just use an example. I'm gonna use an example with just like having faith in God, right? Having faith in God, what that means and what that looks like, that means that I have this confidence in who He is. I have this confidence in His character. I have this confidence in what He's capable of doing, right? For me as God, I have this confidence in Him. And so because of that, that means that because of my faith in Him, because of the confidence in Him, that means that I'm not easily moved when situations don't go my way. I'm not easily moved when people are speaking against the God that I believe in. I'm not easily moved when things are not going according to how I planned, or I'm not easily moved when situations may cause some feelings to come about. I'm not easily moved because I have confidence in His character. I have confidence in who He is. And so I'm not easily moved. I'm not easily moved when somebody is like, oh, look, you know what? This is not working out. I'm not easily moved because I have confidence in what His word promised me in Romans 8:28, when it says all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord and who are called according to His purpose. I'm not moved. I'm not moved when other things suggest otherwise. I'm not moved when external factors, when external things suggest otherwise. Why? Because I have confidence, not just in His character, but I have confidence in His word that He says towards me and the things that He's promised me. I have confidence in that. And so that's what faith, with having faith, looks like. Having faith looks like it does not matter it doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. What matters is my confidence in this thing. And so just for another example, right? Let's say a person has this confidence. There's an endeavor that a person is looking to carry out, right? And sometimes when we're looking to carry out an endeavor, you cannot see the whole totality of what it is. But it's like, look, I have confidence in this thing, right? I have confidence in this thing. And so even when I don't see the full picture, I have this assurance. I have faith in this. I have confidence in this. So I'm not going to be moved when I don't see every single thing, when I don't see all the pieces. I have confidence. And I think that's the first thing what having faith looks like, or applying faith. It looks like an assurance that suggests like, look, I'm solid in this. I'm rooted, I'm grounded, and I'm not about to let anything or anyone cause me to waver in that. And then another thing that I would say having faith looks like is, I feel like faith has a voice. And what do I mean by that? I feel like faith has a voice. And the reason why I say that is because everything else, right? Everything else, like every other emotion has a voice. Worry has a voice. Worry looks like, oh my gosh, I don't know this, or I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm nervous about this. I'm worried about this. Like worry has a voice. It looks like and it shows up in some of the things that we say. It shows up in some of the things that we think in our mind. Fear has a voice. Fear looks like, can I do this? Can I carry this out? Am I capable of this? Fear has a voice. Doubt has a voice. All of these other things has a voice, and faith has a voice. And that voice is, look, I know, like, I am sure of this. I'm certain of this. And like, the point that I'm getting at is faith has a voice, and so does everything else. But one of the things that is important when applying your faith is to let the voice of faith speak louder than every other voice. You have to literally let your faith speak louder than worry. You got to let your faith speak louder than doubt. Let your faith speak louder than fear. Let your faith speak louder than rejection. Let your faith speak louder than any past failure. No, you learn, you grow from it, and you get back up and you keep on going. You have to let the voice of faith speak louder than every other voice. You got to let the voice of faith speak louder than every other voice. Faith has a voice, and really it's like, well, which one are you going to yield to? You going to yield to every other voice, or are you going to yield to this voice of faith that says, no, this is possible. I'm able to do this. And then another thing that I would say when it comes down to applying faith, right, is you got to work your faith. Like, faith without works is dead. You have to work your faith. And what do I mean by that? Like, sometimes we say, like, people say, look, like, all right, I have faith that this will happen, but then they don't take the steps to make it happen. Having faith, like, faith is an action word. Faith is an action word. It's not just something that we declare out of our mouths. It's not just like, okay, this is going to be the posture of my heart and my mind. Faith is an action word. So it's like, okay, I'm going to declare this out of my mouth. I'm going to believe this in my heart, and in my mind, I have faith. But at the same time, what am I going to do to show that I have this faith? Because faith is an action word. How am I going to show up? How am I going to put this into action? What am I going to do that suggests, look, I got faith. I have faith that this is going to happen. I have faith that this is going to work. I have faith in the outcome of this thing. I might not see the full picture, but I have faith in the outcome. And here's my faith into action. This is what I'm going to do to make sure that this is the outcome. How am I going to show up? Faith is an action word. There's times that people say, like, yeah, I have faith. I'm believing for this, or I trust that this will happen. But then it's just like, all right, like, are you, like, is it just supposed to just drop out from the sky? Like, you know, like, sometimes we say, all right, we have faith in that God is going to do something for us, or like, we have faith that God is going to deliver on our behalf, and then we don't do anything on our part. Like, we don't put in no work on our part. And faith without works is dead. It's like, no, I'm going to plan, I'm going to do, I'm going to apply my faith, because I believe that in the midst of me applying my faith, in the midst of me working the vision, in the midst of me doing, God is going to, he's in the midst, and like, he's working right alongside of me. Not only that, but he's going before me. And right now, I'm applying my faith. I'm walking by faith. I'm moving by faith. I'm living by faith. I'm doing by faith. I'm not just declaring out of my mouth that I have faith and saying that this is my mind and my heart's posture, but I'm not doing. Faith is an action word. And so if you want to see the fruit of your faith, you got to do. And that's just, if you want to see the fruit of your faith, you got to do. And that's a nugget. That is a nugget. And then the last thing that I want to say, I know last episode I was speaking about just the weight that faith carries, right? And going back to the scripture in Hebrews 11:1. And I probably, I can't let up on that scripture because it really is so powerful. It says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things that's not seen. And I remember one time I was having a conversation with my husband, and he was like, this thing that we cannot see, like, we were talking about it. We were like, it has substance. It's tangible. Like, when something has substance, that means that it's tangible. And so literally what the scripture is saying is like, look, faith is, it's the substance. It has a weight to it of things hoped for. And it's the evidence of things not seen. So it's like, I don't see, like, I have faith for this thing, and though I don't see it yet, my faith carries so much weight, and I believe this so much so, right? My faith carries so much weight that it's going to cause God to act. It's going to cause God to move, and it's going to cause God to move so much so that the very thing that I have faith in, it's going to show up because of my faith. Because of my faith. Your faith carries weight. And I think when we begin to understand the weight that our faith carries, right, like, when we start to wrap our minds around the realities of our faith, around the fact that our faith carries weight, I think then it'll be like, it'll cause such a perspective, it'll cause such a shift in our perspective that it's like, you know what, my faith has to show up in this. I need to have faith in this because I need God to show up. I need God to act on this. I need the very thing that I'm believing, the very thing that I'm hoping for, I need to see it come into fruition. I need to see the manifestation of it. And in order for me to see the manifestation of it, I have to have faith. I gotta have faith. And so your faith, when you really understand the fact that your faith, it carries weight, and that weight has the ability to impact your life. And not only that, but it has the ability to impact your future. It has the ability to impact your family. It has the ability to impact your children's life. It has the ability to impact generations. Just your faith alone. The Bible says that our faith, like, it can move mountains. It can move mountains. And what that means is, think of, like, if you could even wrap your mind around this, it's like, picture a person moving a mountain. It's like, how is that even possible? How is that even possible? But what that scripture is suggesting is, when you have faith, that which looks impossible can be possible. That which looks impossible can be possible by your faith. So your faith carries weight. And I think if you even begin to really understand that, man, when you allow your faith to show up in situations for you, when you allow your faith to show up in prayer, okay, I'm talking about, let your faith show up, and that when you go before God and there's some things you're laying at his feet, there's some things that you're requesting, there's some things that you're seeking God about, there's some things that you're believing God for. And I'm not just talking about possessions. I'm not just talking about just like the things that we want in our hands, or the things that we want, for our own personal lives, or whatever the case may be. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about even faith for things as it pertains to the things of God. Like, if you are desiring to grow in your relationship with God, if you're desiring to grow just to learn more of God, if you are desiring to grow in terms of, like, let's say there's some things that there's some spiritual gifts you have, like whether it be like the gift of wisdom or something, and it's like, God, I want to further learn, like I want to unpack this more, it's like, well, you need faith that God can do this. You need faith that God can unlock, that God can reveal. And so basically in every single thing in this life, like, we need faith. And I really believe, just let your faith show up for you, and you'll be surprised by the outcome. Your faith carries weight. And it really has the ability to shift your life. it has the ability to shift your family's life. I remember, right, before just being at the place that I'm at right now, the mentally, emotionally, spiritually, even physically, the physical place that I'm at, I remember the days where, and I think I said this before, on social media. I remember the days where I prayed and I journaled about where I am now. Like, I'm talking about just where I am mentally, emotionally, spiritually, even the things that I said to God that I was like looking for, the things that I desired as it pertains to my life. I remembered the days where I prayed about it and I journaled about it, but not even just there. I had faith for it. And it's like, now at this point, it's just like, wow, like, your faith really does carry weight. I can't stress that enough. Faith really does carry weight, because here I was just like as a teenager where I'm believing God for certain things. I'm having faith for certain things. And it's just like, it was things that wasn't, it was things as it pertained to my future. It was things to come. It wasn't anything that was happening then. It was things to come. And it's like, no, I have faith for this. Like, I believe God for this. And I'm not letting up. I'm not allowing, even when sometimes when people would even say like, oh, like, because there are times, like I said, other voices will try to talk you out of things. And for me, it was like, look, I have faith, and that's just it. And I really do believe, and I can honestly say that faith has carried me thus far. And so I'm a person, I like to like share the wealth, right? Like, it's like when you find out something is really good, or you find out something works, and you found out something is it really has the ability to impact, it's like, share the wealth. And so that's what I'm doing today, right now. I'm sharing the wealth, and I'm letting you know that your faith can really, it can really make an impact. And so this goes beyond just have faith. No, apply your faith. Apply your faith to your situation. Apply your faith to your future. Apply your faith as it pertains to your family. Apply your faith as it pertains to your children. Apply your faith even for the things that you desire. If you desire some things as it pertains to a family, marriage, just whatever. Apply your faith as it pertains to some things in your walk with God. Apply your faith for your endeavors. Apply your faith. Apply it. I can say to you, have faith, have faith, have faith. But I literally just went over the steps on how we apply our faith. And so my encouragement to you today is apply your faith. I promise you it carries weight. It carries weight. And listen, I won't say that there's not moments where we are challenged in our faith, but instead of seeing it as this thing that's like such a hard task and something that's so like, oh, it's so difficult, see it as an opportunity that, listen, my faith is being stretched. And nonetheless, even though my faith is being stretched, I won't allow, like, I'm not about to lose faith. I'm going to allow my faith to be stretched because I'm believing God for something even when I can't see it. That's what faith is. The substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things that's not seen. And so that is the last thing that I do want to leave with you guys. Listen, one more thing I'd say is, listen, I did something new. Many people were asking, many people were requesting, and looking for YouTube, looking for a YouTube channel, looking for the podcast to be on video. And so people asked and I've delivered. So all of you guys who have been tuning in with me faithfully, who's been listening audibly, whether it's on whatever streaming platform you're listening from, listen, Healing the Soul podcast. You can now go and subscribe on YouTube. Do me that favor. If you've been journeying with me, you've been walking faithfully, you've been tuned in from day one, my day ones that's on here listening, do me a favor and go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. You can search up the channel. It's at Saved with Sauce. And also share this podcast, share it with a friend, share it with a relative, tell a friend, share this podcast with someone that you know can really benefit from these conversations, someone who you know that can use the encouragement, the uplifting, someone who you know can even use like just being edified as it pertains to like their walk with God. But share the podcast. And also, if you're not following me on Instagram, you can follow me on IG at Saved with Sauce. And last thing I'd say is, listen, I post weekly. The episodes drop every Wednesday. I post them weekly. And so if you have enjoyed the episode, if you tuned in and you've enjoyed it, share some feedback. I always say, like, this is a journey together. So I want to hear from you guys. I want to engage with my listeners. So share some feedback. Tell me what you enjoyed from the episode. Tell me something that resonated with you. Tell me something that, you know, that you're able to really apply to your life and even to your walk. And lastly, if you have not left a review and you've been journeying with me or you've enjoyed the episode, do me a favor and go ahead and leave a review and let me know just the impact that the podcast is having on you, having on your life. But that's pretty much it for today. Work your faith, okay? Work your faith, apply your faith, and faith it until you make it. Faith it until you see it. All right? And the last thing, I always leave a question to consider. So the last thing is the question to consider. And my question for you all today is, what are you believing for? Or what do you have faith for? What do you have faith for? What are you looking to happen for you? What are you looking to happen in your life? What's something that you're looking for God to do? What do you have faith for? And then the next question I'd ask is, what are you doing to work your faith? What are you doing to work your faith? What steps are you taking to work your faith? Whatever you're believing for, whatever you're looking to happen, what are you doing to make that thing happen? How are you showing up for it? How's your hand in the midst of it? So those are my questions to consider. I'm leaving you guys with that. And listen, faith it until you see it. Okay, apply your faith, work your faith, and have faith. All right. As I always say, let's journey together. Let's thrive. Let's heal. It's your host, Saved with Sauce, and let's heal.